Today I'm going to be talking about one of the most important topics to me, and that's drones. And what is the best drone for you? And I'm going to be going over why different drones are good for different people. Let's get started. So I'm comparing a Mavic Pro to a Phantom 4 to a Inspire 1 Pro. I'm using these drones because there's a very big contrast in them, as the Mavic is a very small foldable drone for consumers, and then it goes all the way up to a professional Inspire 1 Pro, which you would use on Hollywood films. I'm comparing the drones by taking them all to the same place and flying the same shot 3 times on the 3 different drones, to try and give the most realistic representation of what each camera can really do, as then they will all be able to fly and film in the same conditions and it'd be the most fair test possible. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the Mavic Pro by DJI. Now this drone is great because it folds and it's a very light and compact drone and can give you great footage for its size and price. So the max speed of the Mavic is 40 miles an hour, as it can give you really dynamic, fast moving shots. But I would say the Mavic isn't the best in wind compared to a Phantom or an Inspire. Because of its light size, it does get pushed around a bit more. But if you're happy to deal with that, or you're a good pilot so you know how to deal with those sort of situations, I definitely recommend the Mavic for a travel filmmaker. So the Mavic Pro has a 12 megapixel camera that shoots at 60 megabits a second, and its sensor size is 1/2.3, which is great when you have the good lighting conditions, but when the lighting conditions are not optimal, it will struggle and create a bit of noise in your shots. It shoots cinema 4K at 24 frames per second and has a field of view of 78 degrees. It also has obstacle avoidance at the top and the bottom, so whenever you're flying forwards you don't have to worry quite as much as the Inspire 1 Pro, which does not have obstacle avoidance on it. Also, the Mavic flies for 30 minutes, and if you get the Fly More combi you get 3 batteries and you'll have tons of time to get those shots, which is great for a beginner because you may be experimenting and it will take you longer to line up a shot compared to a professional that will know what sort of shots they need to get. So a Mavic is a great drone. So the next drone I'm going to be talking about is the Phantom 4 by DJI. So the Phantom 4 has a 12.4 megapixel camera and has a CMOS sensor of 1/2.3. Now this is great if you have good lighting, but it will struggle if the lighting is not optimal. It shoots cinema 4K at 24 or 25 frames per second at 60 megabits a second, which can give you great footage. The camera's field of view is 94 degrees and it has front and downward obstacle avoidance, which means when you're flying forwards, it will avoid obstacles for you. So the Phantom 4 can fly up to 50 miles an hour, but if I was going to do that myself, I'd fly backwards, as to get to 50 miles an hour you have to put it in sport mode, and the sensors are turned off in sport mode. And going backwards will also prevent you seeing the propellers in the shot, as a Phantom 4 or any of the Phantom series, if you go full power forwards you will see the propellers in the shot. Lastly, the Phantom 4 flies for 28 minutes, which is a great amount of time to get great cinematic footage. The drone I'm talking about now is the Inspire 1 Pro by DJI. Due to the Inspire 1 being a heavy drone, it does have only 17 minutes of flight time, and then you would have to buy extra batteries if you're on a professional set, because you will probably be flying take over take just to get that right shot in the film. But it is worth it because you can have a great camera in it, which is a micro four thirds sensor, and yet you have the ability to take lenses on and off. And for example, I have the 15mm prime, which is made by DJI, and then I have an Olympus 14 to 42mm zoom lens, which is great as, because on a micro four thirds sensor it's actually cropped in, it's more like a 70mm zoom, due to it being a crop sensor, which means I can get very close and dynamic shots of a drone. So I don't actually have to be close to a subject, so if I was filming a car for example, I don't actually have to get that close to it, I can just zoom in and it will still give the illusion of being close. The Inspire 1 Pro has a 16 megapixel camera that shoots cinema 4K at 24 and 25 frames per second at 60 megabits a second, which gives you great cinematic footage and it's a very sharp image that it produces. So all of the three drones are great for three different types of people. What I mean by this is the Mavic is great for a beginner because it's small and not as expensive as the other three, and also due to it being small, it's great for someone that needs to travel and have the smallest and lightest amount of camera gear as possible. The Phantom 4 is great as it's for a semi-professional pilot. What I mean by this is it's more expensive than a Mavic Pro, but it's cheaper than an Inspire 1. So it's great for someone that wants good performance but doesn't want to go full commitment to having a professional drone yet. Also, the Phantom has a great size to performance ratio, and what I mean by this is it has a great camera but it's not as big and it's more convenient to travel with compared to an Inspire. So the Inspire 1 Pro is great for professionals because you have the option to change cameras on it, and you have the option to put different lenses which can give you different focal lengths and different perspectives on whatever you're shooting, and the way the landing gear raises in the air is great because you will never have propellers in your shot. So thank you for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and all three links to the three different drones are in the description below. So if you want to buy one for yourself or you want to read more information about it, please do use the links below. If you did enjoy it and you got something out of it, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.